Hello, hello, and welcome to your next psychic investigation. My name is Mara, and I am a psychic medium, and we are getting into an investigative read. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot if you're interested in reading cards, not necessarily. Pardon me. Already the throat chakra. People are like, no. And that's why we've got the Palo Santo. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm very excited to get into this. So, we're going to break this up. We're going to be profiling and digging into a couple. That's been all up in the energy, doing all sorts of black magic. Nobody believes that they're into it, because they're. So, we're going to go ahead and do what I like to call like an excavation read. And so we're going to, and also it'll show you how I do my readings. So usually if I'm doing a reading for like a divorcee or something like that, excuse me, they can get pretty long. That's why I have packages for like 10 hours, which will cost you less money. So then we're kind of working on an as needed basis because they're usually ongoing. But this will kind of show you the process of what you can expect for a couple's reading. But I'm going to be breaking it up. It's not going to be 40 minutes long in one breath. It's going to be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We'll see how it goes, but I'm going to break it up for you so you can kind of just go around, pick around, especially if you want to become a more accurate reader. I'm also going to just be giving you some of my processes. One of my processes, obviously, is clearing the space. Another one is deciding whether I am going to use tarot or not. Everybody hears tarot reader and they think of the devil, the tower card, and whatever, and and I gave up my firstborn child, all these things. No, cards work on vibration literally. So you can make your own cards with people's names and you can use it that way. Those are definitely things that I teach. And so it demystifies and takes away the cards really literally work on the energetics. So if I say tree, the card with the tree on it will come out. Tarot is a set. First of all, it comes. So if you're one of those people and you're like, don't be playing with those tarot cards, they're of the devil. Well, then you got to stop playing gin rummy and poker and all that other stuff, because tarot is only a derivative of that, which was a parlor trick game. Okay, and then for 20, I think 20, yeah, it's at 22, 21 or 22 cards. They just added that on to your 54 cards that you play gin rummy with. Okay, so don't come to me. If you want to come, you better come correct. All right, so I am feeling a little froggy today because this has been a long time coming. Okay. And this is what I do best. And I don't enjoy tearing people and reading people to filth, but when they've slandered, all the things, but honestly, when they've hurt children, that's where I get a little. So this is mainly like, what's going on behind the scenes. What are their, so I've got all of these questions. I have about 15 pages of questions that I use. I'm using these four. I was led to use these four, and then I'll be rolling the dice to see which question. So each one is like a crime and legal consequences, evidence and exposure, motives and manipulation. So we're going to start off there. But first off, the first reading, I'm just kind of letting you know, we're going to just use this as a jumping off point, is going to be profiling their personalities. And then we'll jump into the motives and manipulations, and we'll go into each. And I'll just feel through it because I usually do these in like one big, like, somebody says, what's going on in my family, I'm not a person. If you want to, does he love me, am I going to be famous, I am not your gal, because I will. What are you doing to become famous, right? I am here for, I enjoy accuracy. I did not get into cards. I did it to save my life. I didn't, because here's the thing is, this is why they don't want you playing with cards, because you can tell somebody's character or what they're doing. If okay, any reader worth their salt isn't going to be giving you some BS. Okay, any reader worth their salt will know that the cards read the energy as it stands. So when you get some BS about in the future, whatever, we cannot predict the future. We can predict the future only if nothing changes, and we all have free will, right? That's what God gave us, was free will. So if anybody changes their mind for any reason, then the timeline changes. That's what we're talking about when we talk about timelines. The train tracks, right? They split off and something goes differently. So if nothing changes, yes, I can predict the future, as well as like dreams, right? But with cards, you have to understand. Now, people can pick up on future energies, like my soulmate, stuff like that. They're definitely, because that's a static person that's you're honing into their energy, right? So you're able to, people are very, the people that do the drawings and everything like that, that's just crazy to me. I still, like, even talking to animals and whatever, when I first got to Sedona, I was like, okay. And then, you know, animal mediumship, they speak just like we do in their minds. And it's a total thing. So my mind was open. I call me the skeptic psychic, although I don't think I can say that. I can either, I'm the psychic skeptic or the skeptic psychic. There's a chick that's got a podcast. She's like a whole ass psychic, but it really is because I have an analytical mind. And like, prove it to me. So I prove it to myself all the time. So I always experiment with different types of divination, even going into the Bible and just flipping it and saying, what do I, the message do I need? It's called bibliotography, or bibliomancy, where you just like open the Bible or open a book and say, okay, this is what the message is meant for me, and you just pick it, right? Or when you loosen up, you remember those MC Escher, I don't know, back in the day, you had these posters where if you looked at it, it was like all these crazy like dots, whatever. But if you like opened up your focus and softened your gaze, you would see the picture underneath it. That's what the cards are, right? So when we're picking up things, we're softening our gaze to go into the subconscious, and that's what the cards pick up on. So what I love about them is nobody can fool a card. If somebody doesn't like you, they cannot fool you unless they're throwing some magic on your ass. Because I will have to say that this is where you have to start doing your gut intuition and listening to your actual, because cards, I have some very scary colleagues. I'm not going to lie to you. Do not get involved with psychics if you don't know what you're doing. Do not get involved with magic if you don't know what you're doing. I'm serious. Yeah, no, it's true. But it's like people are like, well, don't open yourself up with cards. No, you're not opening up yourself with cards. Cards are literally pieces of paper that are picking up on the energy. What you're doing when you're opening portals with like Ouija boards and all this other stuff and calling in entities. Have you ever cracked a book and even looked? People are calling like biblical entities and deities and all this other stuff. And it's like, do you know? Have you? Did you listen in history what these people did? We're talking about like Baal, like biblical from like Genesis, like Babylonian gods. They like hung babies up by their like. I mean, babies were just sacrificed. These are the people that you like, the entities that you're calling on and bringing into your spirit, right? So no, the cards do not bring it in, but it is a little bit of a gateway. I'm not going to lie, it is a gateway. And it's not a bad gateway, but people get into like, I don't like, spiritual narcissism, like it's just a vibration and it's just like this. And my, crystals, I was like, you are full of it. They're pretty. You know what? No, crystals actually work. I'm charging it. Oh, I've got them over in the other. They actually do work. Like all this other stuff, all because it's alchemy and it's intention. And so that I really want to, because look at, if you're watching me from the United States, do you know that every other culture literally reveres the people that have the cards and the prophetesses and the prophets and the shamans and everything like that? They are revered, right? They are sought for. Did you know people are like, oh, astrology? Oh, you don't believe in astrology? Your ass is about, if you don't know about Saturn just went retrograde. So what did you do in this past year when Saturn went retrograde? Oh yeah, like you're just stacking it on top. And then you got Pluto that just went into Aquarius. That's like a 20-year cycle. Like this is a new one. Like what you just did in the past 6 months is going to carry on. Like this is a cycle. These things are real. We just went, Uranus just went into Gemini like 3 days ago. Holy cannoli. Why do you think everything's coming out with the Epstein? When it's a Gemini, the sign of communication. Epstein's coming out. The guy, the billionaire, CEO, whatever is coming out. All of the things are coming out. These are astrological transitions that like the astrological weather is a real thing. Now we just went into Mercury retrograde, which is in Leo. So you have to understand, like if you've got a project, like you got to know the timing of this stuff. If you have a project and you want to start it now, bad idea. Okay, you should have done it and gotten it finished a week ago, like I did. Okay, right? Your communication, right? Like trying to shiv people in the back, whatever. You got to know about your timing. And then Saturn, like again, just I keep Daddy Saturn's about to don't drop the soap. I'm just going to say that. Okay. So now that we've kind of gotten all of this out of the way, I'm just going to continue on with a quick profile because and I'll get to those questions later. But we're just gonna be it's kind of be like the boxing ring. Like we've got this couple, right? That are like supposedly like uber pious, upstanding members of the community, and they are nothing but. So this reading is also, I mean, it may look like I'm trying to be, speaking of, malicious or anything like that, but if you only knew, and so this is also a reading for all of the authorities that are watching me. I love you, my ABC ladies and gentlemen. All the love, all of the protection, all of the information. Much love. Okay, so let's get into this. So we're gonna have. So I'm reading for my readers. So I am using the animal, Kim Cran's animal. Actually, I have the wild animal spirit deck. Okay, so there's a big version. Okay, super sexy. This is probably one of the other than this one. Chris Ann's is probably one of the sexiest shuffling decks I have. But there's a mini version, right? So I like being able to put it in my purse because then I can just profile. Like at work, I love it. When I was undercover at the strip club, people just thought I was sitting around practicing with my cards, and I was just profiling every single person in the entire time. And they're like, "Oh, just the dumb girl, right, with their tarot cards." And meanwhile, back at the ranch, sex traffickers galore. Also, a thing. So when I clear my chakras, right, do all of the clearing, the spiritual hygiene and stuff like that, I do find when I sit down, because right, even with the hat, you'll find a lot of readers. Well, first of all, a lot of them won't show you, like they'll just show you their hands, right? But I like to have, I like to have people's expressions. I don't like some mumbo. I do not resonate with a lot of readers because there's some that are like, this is what it is. And there's some like, well, and this, and it could be, because they're too afraid to just like come out and say it, right? And that just comes with time. That's like the Malcolm Gladwell, like 10,000 the tipping point. Is it the tipping point or the outliers? It's one of those books. So just having like something that's grounding, like you can go with wine, but I find that the intuition just like it blocks out just a little bit because it kind of makes me sleepy, which is like the point. But with beer I can go all day because it's grounding. There's hops in it. It's very, dark. So as soon as even when I'm driving like in a mountain range or something like that, and I get a little floaty and start like astralling out, because I am a high priestess, right? So my foot is in the 5D and the 3D, mainly in the 5D. So that's why people are like, how can you spend so much time by yourself? And I'm like, because I'm not really here, right? And that's how but well, people see that's actually getting into flow, right? So I'm multitasking, doing a lot of things, but I'm in flow. It's kind of like when you do something that you absolutely love, like let's say you're a photographer, right? And you really love editing pictures. Like I hated editing pictures. I became a great photographer because I hated editing photos. So I'm like, let me get it right the first time, right? But some people just love that, and I can appreciate that because it's not something that I'm interested. I like more of that raw. But can't you get into something and like it be 6 hours later, and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten, I haven't thought. That is called flow. It's actually called a brainwave, like it's alpha or delta. I don't remember right now because I'm in flow. So when I'm in flow, my prefrontal cortex goes boop, right? And then I'm just getting all the other stuff here. And then when I get out of flow, prefrontal cortex, so then that engages like the amygdala and like the lizard brain, and all of a sudden I'm right. But so I actually have to come back and when I get into flow, I have to come back and watch my videos so that I can, because I don't know what I said when I was in it, if that makes any sense. Just like you're like, oh my gosh, I was driving, like maybe you're driving to, even just to work, and subconsciously you're like, how did I get here? Right. And it's like, because you were listening to your favorite podcast, but you're like, I don't remember like the entire drive here. Flow, right? If you remember the entire drive and you're like, that mother and that blah, 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 you were not in flow. Okay. So it's being able to control, it's called a state change. If you listen to Tony Robbins, you need to get into like, really, if you want to, like, this is what I appreciate about all of this, because there is science behind it. Right. Especially when we're talking about zodiacs and astrology and all that other stuff. Like you go to India, like if your baby is born within like a 2-week period, they can literally, and I'm going to say it over and over, if their coloring is going to be reddish, like with their teeth, if they're going to have horse teeth or baby teeth, a lot of gum, or like some big old honkers or whatever. Like they can like earlobe length, like all sorts of crazy. I don't know about earlobes, but I'm like down to a team. They've been doing this for years, and just because you don't understand it or you think it's wrong doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? Fucking educate yourselves. Okay, so we are going to now that I'm done, let me climb off my soapbox and my cross. And I'm actually going to cut this off here, and then we're going to jump straight into the next reading. And I'm going to make sure that my sound, because Mercury retrograde, I'm telling you, you got to check all the electronics. You got to double check all of the things. There's something I'm forgetting. What am I forgetting? Because I just heard a little knock. I don't know what it is. I wasn't going to use. Oh, I was going to use that deck. Okay. All right. Now we're going to tap in just a little bit because I like getting an anchor card, and that's what I realized because I wasn't going to use it. You don't usually use like oracle cards, fortune telling cards, tarot cards, playing cards, your own cards, all different systems. Okay. So I was even using like regular playing cards for my yes and no's, but because there's an intention built in, there's a whole thing called cartomancy. Okay, that they used to use, and I mean, everybody used to, like, here's the thing, is like in Europe, playing cards are used for tarot cards, period. They don't even have to have the major arcana. That's the thing, is like you need to know your history before you start spitting out rhetoric and believing in the dogma. And no, there's nothing wrong with having an excellent vocabulary. It means I can speak to a plethora of people, but this is something that's been cultivated. I had to learn. Like I said, I was a little Raggedy Ann doll when I got to the airlines, and then I realized, oh, I could have a millionaire, or I mean, I've several celebrities, right? Am I going to be, hey, y'all, how's it going today? Unless you're a Southwest. Hey, Southwest is the most difficult airline, one of them, besides Delta. Do you know that it's harder to get into Delta Airlines than it is to get into Harvard? You have a better chance to get into Harvard Business School than Delta Airlines. So think about the competition. Broadway actors, like Disney people, like all sorts of crazy stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get okay, back to where we're going to go. So the left is the feminine side, okay? And the right, when we're talking about readings, is the masculine side. And so I want you to think about this when people say like you get an itchy palm, depends on the palm. Because the feminine is the receptor. Think about the feminine, the V, you know what I'm saying? The V receives, right? So feminine energy. So when your palm itches in your left hand, it means something's coming in. Literally and figuratively. No, but if you get the itch in your palm, in your right hand, it means money's about to come out. Okay. And there is a way that you can alchemize that. And if you're interested in me doing that, my services are listed below in the beacons link. Okay. Actually, I don't have any spell. I'm not advertising the spell work, like, but it's not to do anything on other people. It's to do things for yourself and not to draw things in. We don't incur karma over here. I'm not going to incur karma. And I'm not going to, damn sure not going to service anybody. I'll be pulling cards on you. I do my due diligence. I'm not one of these willy-nilly, like, people that are like, I'm just going to take your money and tell you I did something or do, like, Have you heard of Hermetic law? Probably not, because you don't fucking read. Okay. So I'm going to get a card for the feminine, and then I'm going to get a card for the masculine. What's actually funny is that the masculine might actually come up as on the feminine side. No, I'm going to place that intention, but it could, just for the people that are trying to read, because I feel like these two people have flipped roles, right? The female is in her masculine, because we all have masculine and feminine. So think, guys, like, I'm not feminine. Really? When you're on your knees for the pastor? But like, we'll get into that later. No, but like when a man, like, let's say you come home from work and you just felt really good about like making money for the family and bringing it home instead of like sending it to all of your baby mamas. Side note. And your woman brings you like a sandwich, right? You are in receiving mode. You're like, thank you. You're receiving care from someone else. But then when you're like, she's having cramps or whatever it is, and you're like, let me make you a sandwich, or the TikTok thing where she like puts her hand out from the blanket and like he just gives her the snacks and she pulls it in with her head still under the covers. That type of, now you're in your masculine role, right? Whenever you think, oh, I'm going to move forward, I'm going to do something for somebody, that's your masculine role. When you are like, I'm going to let the universe or whatever it is, or let somebody take care of me, when it doesn't have to be sick, it's not effeminate, it's called balance, it's called integration, right? But when we have an imbalance, when we have a masculine energy that is, feed me, love me, give me attention, he's in his feminine, so he's going to come up as a feminine in the cards. Then when you have the feminine energy, or the let's say we're just talking about cisborn, okay, a female born energy that's like, let me do this for you, and I'm going to do this for you, and she's in her masculine, right? So now they're like emasculating, and so where's the attraction there? Gross. And then people wonder why, and it's because, well, the feminine doesn't feel she has to be in control because she doesn't trust the masculine, because the masculine's not doing shit. He's like, give it to me, baby, right? And maybe from a couple of people. So it may come up, but I am putting the intention, attention on this, on the left-hand side, even though it comes up, feminine or whatever, we're not going to swap them out, because I'm trying to go with the flow. We're already 20 minutes in, but I feel like it's very important for everybody to just get a little bit of like how the cards work. And I'm going to educate you as we go along, because sometimes when somebody's talking at you and just saying like this deck and this deck, and you're like, how does that even apply? I'm going to show you how it applies. Okay. So I'm going to get one card for the feminine. I am going to shuffle. People do the knocks and everything like that. The cards are cards. You need to shuffle them. They're going to tell you if they're stuck, if they're not if it's a new deck, like this one's stiff and stolen. I borrowed it from a friend. But you can feel it in the cards. The cards will be like, oh, you need to get them where the cards are feeling good, because the cards go on energy. So if the energy is stuck, I'm talking about like actual like air energy vibrations through the card. So if they're stuck, it means it hasn't been cleared. So you can take smoke and you can clear it, or you can just shuffle it out. Shuffle it out. I've always wanted to learn how to shuffle dance. It's kind of like old school raving, like, but like take it down like 3 notches. Anyways, that must be a side note. I must have a raver watching me. Oh, I'm getting Lee Jalbert. Hey, Lee. Oh, I got a poke. That would be you. Oh, sorry, did I say last name? Sorry about that. Hey, you come into my energy, shit's gonna come out. All right, so let's go left. That's what she said. Okay, we have the little owl. Okay, key to wisdom. I'm gonna go ahead before I even look into these. Like I said, I haven't looked through all of these cards actually. Like, I like challenging myself, and I look through them. Like, I haven't read any of the. They were really intricate. Oh. I love when I'm right. I do. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with saying I love when I'm accurate and I love when I'm right. So we got little owl. So we have someone that is actually very, very intuitive, right? But with just the words, with the wording, with the little, oh yeah, and like there's a shield up. There's like this samurai guy. Look at this card, right? There's like this in the background with this shield up, but it's like little owl. I feel like someone. Okay, I am. Oh, the compassion when I want to hate someone, but I can't, because, right? This is like, I see everything, but nobody will believe me. Yeah, no, everyone's gonna turn their back on me if they know what I know, right? There's this frustration. Now I'm getting frustration. Okay. We're not going to tap into that right now, because we are going to get like an actual profile. But like I just love how any reader knows you love it when the cards confirm, because here's the thing is we don't need cards. Well, a lot of readers do, but here's the thing is you get to a point, the cards are just a jumping off point for your subconscious to get you into flow. That's the thing is once you get into flow, then the flow comes. People call it channeling. I don't like that word. I grew up in the church. It makes it feel like I'm letting myself be like some deity and all this other stuff. And no, it's just like tuning into a radio station and tuning into the brainwaves, right? But it scared the crap out of me, and I'm actually, I'm doing it right now, but using that word, right? The pastors do it. People get into prayer and they go on and on. Things come out of their mouth. Writers do it. It's called flow. It's an actual brainwave state. Okay. So, speaking of feminine energies, actually, I'm getting a lot, taking a lot of joy in this. We have the Eastern oyster. This is for the masculine energy in reverse. So, like in tarot, we'll have the Queen of Cups. It's an archetype, and the Queen of Cups is all water, is all about emotion. So when we talk about cups, it's that nurturing. It's the Cancer. It's the Moon. It's the mom that has everything in her purse, right? And she gives it to you, like that energy, right? And so when the Queen of Cups is in reverse, it's manipulative. It uses your emotions. It'll take your stories and spread it around and use it against you. It's narcissistic, but it's emotional narcissism, where like the Queen of Pentacles will be, she'll take your money from you. She'll get you fired from your job, like that type of, they'll take that from you. They use, but if it's a Cups, they're emotionally manipulative, right? And I'm also getting emotional incest. So when you have a masculine cis-born man in this energy, he's not only in his feminine, he's in his awful feminine. He's in like, give it to me, super emotionally manipulative, right? And then you got little owl over here. Okay, so I'm also, oof. All right, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna stop there. I'm gonna rehydrate. I got the water going too. My bonsai is like attacking me. I didn't know they were so prickly. Just like me. If you're interested in any of my readings and any of my services, I was gonna, but like I'm trying to conserve my energy for the rest of these readings. Everything is listed down in the beacons below. If you just need a character assessment, assassination on someone, whether it be someone that you think you might be loving or dating or anything like that, I've got $10. You can just send it in, and I will give you a 10-minute assessment or assassination. Okay, so all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes. All right, bye.